Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senator Baldwin. First, Mr. Chairman, I believe Mr. Connor is very well qualified to be Deputy Secretary of the Interior. I did support his nomination today. I think his time on this committee, working for Senator Bingaman, and his current role with the Bureau of Reclamation is going to serve him well. I did want to take this opportunity to raise some serious concerns I have with the agency that Mr. Connor is joining. During this government shutdown, the Obama administration appears to be using the Department of Interior to inflict as much pain as possible on the public and on our national park communities. Traditionally, the national park system has enjoyed bipartisan support in this committee, in Congress, and really in particular this committee. During Secretary Jewell's nomination hearing, she repeatedly stressed to this committee that if confirmed, she would work to bring people together and to seek solutions. Yet the actions taken by this administration since the government shutdown with respect to our national parks and memorials, I believe, are deplorable. The Interior Department is currently demonstrating that it has no interest in building bridges. Its only interest is in building barricades. In the last week, we have seen efforts to lock out veterans from visiting the World War II Memorial. The Iwo Jima Memorial has been barricaded. Mothers and children have been literally locked out of playgrounds. In my home state of Wyoming, bike paths and scenic viewing areas have been closed. I have a picture here taken in Grand Teton National Park where overlooked viewing areas have been barricaded. Even those with no garbage cans, no restrooms, require no staffing. No money has been saved by doing this. The Obama administration has made a concerted effort to intentionally hurt the public. Does the administration really think it's necessary to keep the driver of the red car in this photo from safely pulling off the highway to take a picture of the Tetons? Maybe the Park Service could study how to drop a large curtain in front of the mountains to block the view from the road. The Park Service is not the only agency within the Interior Department that looks to be trying to make things difficult for Americans. Here's a second picture. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service closed off a bike and jogging path, again in Wyoming. No restroom, no trash facilities, no need to maintain this pathway in the short term. This pathway simply runs parallel to Highway 89 outside of Jackson, Wyoming. It provides a safe alternative to running or biking on the shoulder of the road. Small and petty actions like these have been taken all across the West. In South Dakota, the department put up cones to prevent motorists from taking pictures of Mount Rushmore. Not content to cause pain at national parks, the administration went to extraordinary lengths to close down privately funded historical sites. It ordered the Claude Moore Colonial Farm in Virginia to suspend operations, even though the farm receives no federal funds. The Park Service sent law enforcement agents to remove volunteers from the property. Ann Eberly, the farm director, was quoted in the press as saying, quote, "In all the years I have worked with the National Park Service," she said, "I have never worked with a more arrogant, arbitrary, and vindictive group representing the National Park Service." The Obama administration was not satisfied with closing parks and playgrounds and memorials and viewing areas and pathways. It decided to try to close down George Washington's Mount Vernon home because the parking lots are jointly owned by the Park Service. The rest of Mount Vernon is privately owned by the Mount Vernon Ladies Association. It doesn't receive any government funding. This is a blatant disregard for the rights of a 150-year-old private nonprofit women's group and a disrespect for the memory of our nation's first president. Last week, the Washington Times quoted a Park Service ranger saying, "We've been told to make life as difficult for the people as we can." The Park Service ranger went on to say, "It's disgusting." And Mr. Chairman, I agree. The administration unnecessarily and deliberately is taking actions to negatively affect the lives of American citizens, and it's embarrassing and it must stop. If the Department of Interior is deliberately working against the interest of the public by closing and blocking sites that have no reason to be shuttered, they will be held accountable. Secretary Jewell, Director Jarvis, and the Park Service superintendents will need to answer questions and justify these actions. I believe this committee should hold, and I appreciate you making the statement, Mr. Chairman, that we will hold an oversight hearing so Interior and Park Service officials can have the opportunity to explain the cost savings that they claim would be associated with their actions and why they felt it was right to harm the public in the way that they have. As the National Park Service looks forward to its centennial, it should be focusing on how to build bridges with the public and political parties and not on how to build barricades to the American people. I am convinced that Mr. Connor and the administration will be mindful of how these short-term political theatrics can have long-term policy implications on the Department of Interior. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.